Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, I thought it was time for another slow stitching catch up, let you know how I'm getting on with my ongoing projects and talk a little bit about what I've got in the pipeline, and also have a look at some of the other slow stitchers on YouTube that I've been watching and getting inspiration from this week. So let's have a look at the desk first. So here is my latest kooky cuff kit, as I call them, from Cool Kooky Creatures. Hello Tori. Tori sent me this kit. It was she made up a custom humbug kit especially for me, which is so sweet of her. I wasn't expecting it because I did say that I couldn't choose between the Tutti Frutti and the I loved all of her sweetie ones that she brought out. So lovely. I'm going to leave a link to Tori's channel and her Etsy shop. I believe there are, as I speak, just a very few of the bracelet cuff kits left, so if you want to get hold of one, you'll need to be quick. Really enjoyed this. I loved all of apart from this bit of gold sort of triangle trim here, which I had in my stash and really wanted to use up, and some extra threads because I just went nuts with the stitching. I just love stitching and stitching into these things. There was thread. There were two different kinds of thread included and a needle, and everything else that you see there was included in the kit. I've made it like I did with this one. I've made it just a little bit bigger. They're made to make bracelet cuffs to go on your wrist. My Tutti Frutti one I did make to go on my wrist, and I've searched and searched and seem to have managed to lose it today. I bet it's fallen down amongst the mess in this craft room somewhere, but I made that wrist size and I wanted to show you, and since I stopped filming this, it will suddenly magically turn up, I'm sure. Anyway, yeah, so for this one again, I made it. This time it worked out big enough to go around this set of 4 traveller's notebooks that I had. And then it's nice to just be able to tuck a pen in like that, or a pencil or two. So yeah, let's give you a little bit of a closer look at what I've done there. Okay, I think I've managed to work out the focus so that I can show you this. Right, so yeah, there were loads and loads of little pieces of fabric. I just wanted to use everything. There wasn't room for everything on there, so I saved the other bits. I'll show you them in a minute. And then I just took my needle and thread for a walk, as Cookie puts it, and I just went nuts with the stitching. There is just 2 little odd snippets of felt that came in one of the other kits that I've just couched down. The key, everything, all these little beads, the cog. There was a piece of leather that I cut out into those couple of heart shapes, the button, everything. A bit of net, I cut that into small pieces and sort of spread it around. Quite enjoyed doing this kind of grid with the stitching over the top. Yep, you even get the little kind of ponytail band for your closure. I loved all the different textures and things because this is velvety. There was the leather, there's the metal, there's some fine kind of sheer fabrics and metallic fabrics, and some cotton, and there's just all different textures in there. And then on the back you've got the piece of felt to finish it all off. So in here I've saved all the pieces left over from that kit and the other couple that I've done of Tori's bracelet kits. There we go, some of the felt, lots of the fabrics and things, and I will throw in some other little bits as well. It's a great way to use the really tiny bits. And I'm going to have a go at another project that Tori's been doing, I've been showing. She's making a lovely needle case. I really fancy doing a little dinky needle cases. I'll show you that in a minute. And she's also been doing these pins, like all she uses these kind of kilt pins. So I bought a big bag of these from Amazon. That was the best value I could get, and I've sent half of them to Granny Sue. Hello Granny Sue, because she's making some of them up for charity. Tori has very kindly said that she's very happy for Sue to do that and sell them for charity, so that's nice. What a lovely community we are, hey? So yeah, with these pins you use some of the felt and some of the fabric scraps and create these decorative little pieces, little panels there that you can pin onto a lapel, onto your craft bag or whatever, onto a gift for a friend. So I'm dying to have a go at some of them. Lovely way to use up some of those little dinky pieces. In a minute I want to show you some of the other YouTubers I've been watching slow stitching for inspiration this week, but first of all let's just show you how I'm getting on with this my Scrappy String quilt. So here it is. I'm going to zoom out again just for a minute. I'm trying to get the hang of this zooming and focusing if I can. So this is the sort of overall look of it. I think you'll be able to see there the difference between this section where I've just stitched my kind of straight stitched scrappy squares onto the backing fabric. I've just stitched them very simply like this. And then there's this section where I've done all the extra, it'll be a mess on the back, look at that. I've done all the extra stitching over the top to make it more interesting and to kind of merge the squares together and lose the gaps in between. Because if you look at the moment, if I fold that, you can see it gaps. If I fold it here, it doesn't, because I've stitched over the top so much. And I carry the lines across more than one of the diamond shapes that I've formed. You don't have to put them in a diamond shape. You can make them chevron, you can make them all in the same direction. There's all sorts of things. I will link to the Scrappy String Quilt playlist, so if it's the first time you're seeing this, do go and check that out, because it tells you right from the beginning. This looks complicated, but it's actually so simple to do. I'm not an embroiderer. I'm not a quilter. It's all hand stitched. It's very easy going. There are no complicated stitches. It's very ramshackle, and that's how I like it. So now I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit and just here we go. So as I say, it kind of looks complicated there, but it's really not. I've only used 5 or 6 different very straightforward stitches. I showed them all in one of the previous videos, and I've just made it up as I've gone along. I've just stitched over, I've grabbed whatever colour calls to me in the moment, and just gone nuts with the stitching. There's nothing uniform about this at all. So here is one that I've not really started working on yet, so you can see lots of raw edges still. Same there, I've just started working on that one, but there's a long way to go yet. This has taken me, doing the decorative stitching part of this has taken me about a week, doing it in the evenings. It's really not complicated. It's just, but it is very time consuming. So if you don't fancy doing all of that, you can very much still just do it with straight stitches. I think the most simple way of all would be to have all of the diagonal lines of your squares facing in the same direction, and then just do more lines of running stitch over the top of them, all in long lines, to put them all onto that backing fabric. And well, I think I would still put them on in this way first, and then add those lines of diagonal stitching just to lose all of these edges between the squares. And you soon find that it's hard to, I kind of get to a point where I don't really see the squares anymore, and when I'm looking at it close up I have to stop to think where the square is, you know. But you could definitely do some. I love the look of rows and rows of just straight stitching, I really do. So one of the things that has been so lovely for me is to see other people's takes on this idea. It's been really brilliant, and I'm going to show you a couple of them now. So this is Sonia Steptoe. I've just started watching her, just found her just recently. So this is the beginnings of her take on these little squares, and I think that's really pretty. And I think she's going to do she's going to focus on the straight stitching. Funny enough, she watched Susie Q's take on it before she watched mine, I think, because she already followed Susie Q. They're all sort of funding each other through each other. It's really lovely. But yeah, I think this is going to turn out so pretty. And there are lots of things on Sonia's channel that I'm looking forward to catching up on as well. Lots of lovely ideas on there. So yeah, definitely recommend checking her out if you haven't already. So she was looking at Susie Q. So here's Susie Q's take on the idea, and again she's focused on the straight stitching. That's what she prefers to do, and she's using different trims in between. I think she ends up with some black in between. Let me just, yeah, she's using this, but she's couching down this black in between to close the gaps, so you haven't got to do a lot of stitching back and forth, decorative stitching back and forth to lose the gaps. She's doing it by using this rickrack trim and the black cord. I think it looks beautiful too, and she did a lovely needle wrap as well, also using the little string squares. So yeah, again, lots of ideas on on Susie's channel. So yeah, definitely recommend that. If you haven't found her already, go and check her out. Now what else? Let me show you some of the other people that I've been looking at for. Here's Tori's channel, Cool Cookie Creatures. There's one of those little needle cases I was talking about, so that's another project in the pipeline there for me. Definitely is a great way as well to use up some of those little bits I've got left from the bracelet cuff kit, so that's perfect. Lots and lots of incredibly inspiring ideas on Tori's channel, so probably if you're watching me, you'll probably already have found Tori's channel, but if not, definitely worth a look. Okay, so that's Tori. I will link to all these people, and these aren't the only, I mean, you know, apologies to anybody that I watch all the time and have left out. There's just so many on it, and it's so inspiring to share ideas and stuff on the, thank goodness for the internet. I heart the internet. Here is, you've heard me mention Linny before. I Am Linny1 is her channel. She's just got such out there ideas. This is an idea I've never seen before. She just seems to come up with things I've just never seen before. Look at this one, I'm a tree hugger, and she's embroidered all these different kinds of trees on here. That's just wonderful, that, really wonderful. This is, I just wanted to show you, we've got our Inspired By collab going at the moment. So this is a quarterly collaboration, and you're all invited to join in. This time the prompt is to be inspired by you. Create a character inspired by yourself or representing yourself in some way, and it can be in any medium, any format. It doesn't have to look like you, just needs to be inspired by you in some way or represent you in some way. So Christine has chosen to do a slow stitch snail. I think that's beautiful. It's beautifully done, and it used the teeniest tiniest scraps I've ever seen. Great, it's almost like a mosaic with fabric scraps. Absolutely gorgeous, and a really fun, really different take on the prompt. Lots and lots of other ideas on Christine's channel. This is another one of my projects in the pipeline. Now I've had those gorgeous fabrics from Granny Sue, I have got 3 or 4 there at least that would be perfect for doing this. So can you see there, she's embroidered, she calls it painted, is it painting with embroidery? Yeah, thread painted. She's kind of embroidered into the pattern that's printed on the fabric, and then she's mounted it on these, she's used circles of cork that she happened to get from the reverse art truck, and I have actually got some thin cork like that I think would do, but I guess there's all sorts of other things. You could do it on sturdy card, couldn't you, as well, or maybe experiment with things like bottle caps. But anyway, yeah, I'm dying to have a go at that, and I think some of those gorgeous floral fabrics that Granny Sue sent me will be perfect for that. So there's just so much inspiration out there, and some of these amazing people. A lot of these people that I've shown you are members of our Discord community now, so do think about joining. I'll leave my link tree. You can find your way there, or to the Arty Farty Annie Facebook group as well, if you want to connect with us that way. Share what you're doing, have a look at what everybody else is doing. Yeah, it's just such a happy, friendly place to be. Another thing I want to be having a go at is so this is Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. This is volume 3 for this year, and they're doing a garden inspired one on a like a bobbin roll type of thing, and I haven't even started. It started in January, but you know, it doesn't matter with these things, you can always catch up. Their videos, they keep their videos up, and I've got the playlist up here. There's all of it. Look at all of these prompts. So it's Sarah and Rachel, sisters, that do these projects between them. And I think it was Christine was telling me they've got another new project is going to be announced sometime in May, I think she said. So there's also some more no-sew projects with fabric that I've got coming up, because you know, you look at these gorgeous fabrics and colours and textures and things, you think, oh, they're lovely, but I don't like sewing. There are other ways of using it. So I've done a fabric collage, I've done some fabric bangles, and I've got another no-sew project coming up very soon. So just before I leave this, a couple of people have mentioned, you know, what am I going to do with it in the end? Now, I haven't fully decided. I've got a fair sized piece here. I could go several ways with this. I could make it into a hanging. I'd probably hang it with this, you know, long way. So this would be upwards, and it would hang down that way. And I could do some gorgeous dangles and things to go off the bottom, and some loops, and maybe some kind of a piece of bamboo or something at the top, maybe to hang it, I'm not sure. Or I could frame it. I think I'd probably have to go and get it framed though, and that would be expensive, so that's probably unlikely for me. It's certainly big enough to make into a cushion cover, but I don't want it getting too much wear. I also thought about a bag. It would make a nice kind of front of a bag. My first idea was to do something that Linny, so I Am Linny that I showed you just now, something that she did where she'd got a decorative, she'd done like a kind of decorative stitch sampler, and then she'd backed it with a pretty piece of fabric and folded the whole lot up to create a book. And so then she made a book cover. So it was, say she folded it. I've got this piece of fabric that I dyed last year, did a bit of tie dyeing with Macy. That's almost the perfect size. So I would back it with that. I've got so many projects on the go at the same time. If you could see the mess to one side of me, both sides of me, all around me. You'd be disgusted. I've got my collab piece on the go. My collab piece involves stitching, painting, drawing and other crafts. It's pretty much all the arts and crafts I like to do in one thing. So it's pretty messy. So say I had stitched these together, and then I would kind of stitch in the ditch as well to join them together. And then what Linny did was something like this, where she folded it up so all her stitch sampler was inside, her pretty fabric was here, and she did it so it folded up, I think it was kind of like that, and then she made a cover that went on here. Was it might have been like that, and then folded in again, I'm not sure now. But I would probably do it like that, so then I would have a cover this kind of size, so the whole lot looks like a book, and it would have a closure that I could tie. And then when you open it, so pretty cover here, you open it and inside is all of that. So that at the moment is still my favourite idea, but I might yet change my mind. So if I do that, I also need some fabrics to make the cover, and I've got these pretty pieces from Bazaar. So some of the bits that I've been hoarding are these gorgeous kind of patchworked pieces where they're reclaimed fabrics that they've patched together, and then this in itself has been reclaimed. So one of these would make a gorgeous cover. It's not quite the right shape and size of this, so I'll have to fiddle about a bit to see how that will work best. I think I really favour that one. So that's a possibility. And then there's also this beautiful piece that came like this, 2 thicknesses of silk stitched together with tiny straight stitches. I love those straight stitches, and it's almost exactly the right length for that. So this could be like the inside cover of my book, and then when you open the book, at the moment that's my favourite. But you know, there are so many things you could do with this. You could definitely make it into a bag, into a journal wrap, into like a little storage bag for projects and things. Some people have made smaller pieces and done like Christine, no, it's Susie Q showed that she was making like a needle wrap with it. I think she saw, I haven't got it here, I think she saw my needle wrap on my desk and thought, oh, that's a good idea. Hers looks gorgeous. She's done it much better, I think. I don't mind people picking up the idea and doing a better job of it than me. I love that. Or just doing something completely different with it. Did I miss? I did. I missed someone. Hang on. I knew I had it in my head that I'd missed someone. So yeah, I missed out Scrapping Lizzie. I knew I missed someone. Right, hang on. Here we go. So I love Lizzie. She's so entertaining. She and her husband as well. Now, can you see she's got a cuff bracelet on there? So she's been watching Toys channel, and she's made a cuff bracelet, and then she was going to have a go at my Scrappy String Squares. And she started off doing the Scrappy String Squares, then made them bigger. Here she's showing the little square, the first little square that she did, and she found it a bit fiddly. So then she started backing it onto felt, which she found easier to handle. Then she thought she'd just make it bigger, and she cut some 6-inch squares of felt just in half. So she ended up with 3 by 6 inch pieces. So yeah, that's another little square she's done. So she decided she wouldn't go with a little just straight strips. That was just too fiddly for her. She just started putting all sorts of shapes, a bit in the way that you do with the bracelet cuffs. and ended up with little squares like that. Then she just went bigger and just created these pieces, these 3 by 6 inch pieces. I found some beautiful fabric with these girls, these zany kind of quirky looking girls on them, and just ended up creating kind of little art pieces around that. So she started with the Scrappy String Squares and ended up with something completely different, but I think that's brilliant. So yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? We're all kind of inspiring each other and sharing ideas with each other, which I think is brilliant. And the way we're connecting, particularly in Discord, I just think is making it even better. But it's lovely to see people, you know, to connect with people on Instagram and Facebook as well, of course. You know, I just feel like in the Discord thing, it just feels more, I don't know, real. I can't explain it. I can't explain the difference. So speaking of sharing, I've had some lovely parcels of fabric just recently. One from Jackie with full of gorgeousness, and that beautiful one you might have seen from Granny Sue the other day. I'm blown away. So I've got those to use. Susie Q and I did a swap as well, so I mean, it's lovely being able to share like that is really nice. But it's sharing ideas, I think, that is the most brilliant thing. A viewer, I think it was Lisa, left a comment not long ago saying to me, have you seen Manx quilting? You love it. And I'd never heard of it. I thought, what on earth is Manx quilting? So I looked it up and went down such a rabbit hole. It's amazing. She's right, it really is my sort of thing. So I very much want to get into doing that. I'm not going to go on about it now, but there's a lot of history to it, and for several reasons it is right up my street, and I'm sure lots of you will love it as well. I'm not going to use the Liberty fabrics that Sue gave me because I've other plans for them, but I've got a lot of recycled fabrics, and the whole thing about Manx quilting was that they would have recycled fabrics to use them again, to make good use of them. So that's going to be, I'm going to make my first start at Manx quilting in the next day or two, so watch out for that if you're interested. It's less complicated than this Scrappy String quilt. I think it's just straight stitching, it's all hand stitching. You don't need a pair of scissors, be handy, a needle and thread. You don't need a ruler, you don't need a cutter, you don't need anything else. They would have just done it with, they'd have torn it and used a knife. They wouldn't have, you really don't need, it's very, very basic equipment. So Manx quilting is something I want to try. I want to do some Wakawandi as well. I've got this to finish. I've got another little, let me show you. I've got another little secret project on the way, which I'm just working on, and I'm going to make some little kits for it. It'll be a really simple, easy, quick, beginner friendly slow stitching project, and it will also give you something you'll find useful. I'm just going to give you a little clue. The kit will include one of these and that's all I'm saying for now, so watch out for that in the next few days as well. I found quite a few ways now at using up scraps and recycled fabrics and things, but I've also got some larger pieces of fabrics that I've been hoarding for ages. I had some dressmaking fabrics given to me the other day, some of which I think would make good kind of quilt backs and things. I don't think they'd be my kind of style for actual clothes, but they'd be really good for that. And I've got things like this. So I've got quite good at using up small scraps of fabric, but what I can't let go of is things like this, which are just beautiful. I remember treating myself to this one. I think it was in Hobbycraft or something years ago. I've had this for years and I've not even taken it out of the bundle because it's too beautiful. So I need to work on finding ways to use that, and that might work with the Manx quilting, but then I want to use recycled fabrics for that because it would go against the spirit of it otherwise. So yeah, if anybody's got any suggestions, I'm always happy to hear some more. So this one I got in the works. I love it. It's all kind of superheroes comic heroes, and I don't think I'd have paid an awful lot for it because it was from the works. Yeah, so it's a pack of 5 cotton fat quarters. Isn't it gorgeous? So I need to find some other perhaps plain fabrics to set them off, but I just can't decide what to do with them. And then there's this batch of fat quarters one. I think this came from a package from Zoe. Was it Zoe? I think it was you. I think that's who gave me that. So it's lovely. And in with it is a pattern to make your own bunting. So that's obviously what she intended it for. So I mean, I could make some, but I have made bunting before, so I want to do something different. So many ideas. I think that's it for now. But I just wanted to let you know what's in the pipeline, show you how that Scrappy String quilt is going on. I'm expecting to finish that next week, I think, by the end of next week. So I'll be ready to start on something new, and I might end up overlapping with the Manx quilting. I think the Manx quilting could become a new obsession and take over from Kawandi for a while, because it kind of comes from a similar place on the other side of the world. So if anybody else has got any ideas that you'd like to see me try, or that I might not have seen before, definitely want to do some art doll making as well. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I probably don't need to ask for more ideas, but it's just nice to I just think it's just amazing. I think it's one of the reasons I wanted to come on today, is just to say how amazing it is that everybody's sharing fabrics and things, but also sharing ideas and inspiration. It's just so brilliant. And 99.9 times out of 100, it's nothing but positivity, and you know, it's such a lovely, friendly, happy, supportive community, and I really appreciate that. It's just really nice. I just think it's just nice to say it sometimes. And you know, you're like friends, you're like real friends to me, and that's important, you know. Yeah, it's good to acknowledge that. Anyway, so I'm getting a bit meaningful now. So don't forget that you can join in. If stitching is your bag, you can still join in, see what Christine did with our Inspired by collab. You've got until the other collaborator, there's 10 of us all together this time. The other collaborators and I will be doing our big reveal on the 31st of May, but you can post pictures of your creations anytime between now and the 14th of June, and then I'll grab them all, bring them all together and put them into like a roundup video. So if you'd like to see your piece featured on that as well, get creating. Remember to use the hashtag Inspired by Art Collab, which I will put up here, and just tag me as well, just to make sure, especially if it's on YouTube, because I don't find hashtags work very well on YouTube, and they're a bit hit and miss on on Instagram and Facebook as well, especially if you type them slightly wrong. So, or if it's easier, just post them in the Discord group. There's a special room in there for that, or the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook. I will leave my link tree and all the links you need there. I will also link to the YouTube channels that I've shown today, and please feel free to mention any others in the comment if you think there's other ones there that we might all enjoy that I haven't spoiled yet. Okay, right, I'm going to stop waffling on now. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that wander through my busy mind today, and I will see you again really soon, probably tomorrow.